Hello, I'm Matt Parrott, a Chartered Tax Advisor with Tax Shop Accountants in Wellington. Today, just a very quick discussion on whether you should be trading as a sole trader or a partnership or as an incorporated body like a limited company. Historically, limited companies have been excellent to save tax. So for the last 20-25 years, people have set up limited companies just to do that, just to save themselves tax as opposed to being a sole trader. Sole traders and partnerships have and still do pay quite a lot of tax, and that's generally speaking because of Class 4 national insurance. So the Class 4 national insurance as a sole trader it's not national insurance, even doesn't even count towards your state pension. It's just an extra tax of 9% over 7,000 or 8,000 quid. So it's really, really expensive being a sole trader. However, the last couple of budgets have changed things. They've made getting your money out of a limited company very expensive. Previously, £40,000 per shareholder, i.e. if you're a one-man company, you could take out £40,000 roughly a year and not pay more than 20%, not pay any higher rates of tax. Husband and wife, £80,000. That's quite a lot. That's very good. But that's not the case anymore. That's not going to be the case. The dividend tax taxes you personally currently on an excess of £5,000 per person at 7.5% up to the limit of the basic rate tax band. Thereafter, 32.5% personal tax. Horrendous numbers. So you may think there is a small tax saving still for limited companies, but very, very small, hardly worth it. The dividend tax-free allowance of £5,000 is reducing to £2,000 in April 2018. So I really question whether many people should have limited companies now, certainly not just to save tax. There is a very small, as I said, a very small tax saving still by having a limited company, but you'll lose that tax benefit by paying extra accountancy fees, having extra admin, keeping board minutes. It's expensive. If you want limited liability, then perhaps that's a very good idea for you, a limited company. That's the whole point of it. That's why it's called limited. So let's take an example. Let's say you're a scaffolding company and one of the lads falls off a scaffold, sues you. Then if your insurance doesn't pay out, if you're a limited company, you are not going to lose your house. I mean, perhaps it's not a great example because of the poor scaffolder, but you get the picture. You're not going to lose your house if you are a limited company, unless you trade insolvently. Then that's a completely another case completely. However, you've got limited liability. There are some tax advantages, especially if you've got a non-working spouse who owns half your shares, or certainly a decent proportion of the shares. That can certainly help you and will save you perhaps enough money to make you want to be limited. And lastly, if you are in the unusual type of situation where you don't need to draw your money out of the company, you can leave it, you can leave the money reinvested, and then after a few years you close down your company by liquidating it. You then probably, once again, it's a good idea to have a limited company because you'll only pay the maximum of 10% to get the money out when you liquidate. So perhaps a maximum of 30% tax, 20% corporation tax and 10% to get the money out at the end. So that can be very good. But just consider there are different reasons for having a limited company. It's not just to save you tax. It's because it's limited liability, generally speaking.